online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everybody. You are watching and listening to AfterBuzz TV's Spotlight On. I'm Jason Ikeler.
And I'm Kristina Zias.
And joining us today, Spike Feresten is in the studio. You know him from his writing on Late Night with David Letterman and Seinfeld. And now he has a brand new show, Car Matchmaker, premiering on Esquire October 14th.
Hey, Spike.
Hi.
Thanks for coming in today.
Are you kidding?
Are you excited for your show?
I'm very excited to be here.
To be here, good.
Yeah, as I pulled up, and the folks at home, I don't think know. Do they know you shoot in Encino?
I don't think so. They do now.
They do now. Well,
Way
I won't
to
give
spill
out the
it.
address, but I thought that perhaps we were shooting a porno today.
The interview has not finished yet, so we have some surprises coming your way.
AfterBuzz.
You don't know what it is.
No.
So tell us about the show coming up.
Car Matchmaker is a show where I help a buyer find a new car for their life. I know whenever you guys get a new car, you lease a new car, you tend to panic. I panic. So what I do is I help them find a car. I pick 3 that I think will work perfectly in their life, and then we test drive them. We go nuts with them, do things you can't do at the dealership, and then at the end they pick one.
I feel like it's almost like a millionaire matchmaker times house hunters, but for vehicles.
Needs house hunters. Yeah.
It's not a straight reality show. There's a lot of comedy involved. I approach everyone like I would have approached a remote on a late night show. So, I mean, I kind of describe it as, maybe Conan O'Brien going out with someone from the audience to look at cars. I approach it that way.
How do you find the people? Do they find you, or what's the process like for that?
Right. Because it's a new series and nobody knew about the show, we had to do a little casting. So we put out advertisements. Are you about to buy a car? Would you like help? Do you want to be on TV? Type of thing.
Surprise.
And then you get rid of most of those people.
All right.
A small percentage of them aren't crazy and actually did want to buy cars. And they were great. We found like a lot of great people on the show for the first season.
So how did this come about, and when did you first take interest in cars?
This show is really, I have 2 big spheres of interest in work, and one is comedy and one is cars. And this show is a very organic creation. I was really trying to put together a perfect day of work for myself, where I could get up in the morning and do comedy and also do something with cars. And it was about a year ago when I was at home. I'm a comedy writer mostly, so I'm mostly like banging away on scripts, that my friend Ellen Racketon, she's a TV producer, called me up, and I had given her some advice about a car that she did not take, and she was calling me to say, gee, Spike, you were right, which I already knew. Right. Because I had helped 20 or 30 people with cars that year, just because I love to do it. And she said, you're really good at this. Why don't we do a TV show? And I said, well, I don't even understand what you're saying. Well, how is that a TV show? She goes, you're like a car matchmaker. And I said, yes, I am, and that's an interesting idea. Why don't we, get together and see if we can create a format that would be fun to shoot, that people would be interested in, and here we are.
What was one of the most challenging sells on the show?
You mean as far as cars?
Yeah. Has it ever been hard?
Any car guy will tell you, because people come to them for advice all the time, that most people don't want your advice. They want you to validate their guess, right?
That's with everything.
With everything, right. So every sell, what I like to do is, if someone's really pushing me hard, I'll bring that car into my studio, and then I'll take them out of their comfort zone with 2 other cars, or I'll open their eyes to why they're completely wrong. And that's everybody. I mean, everybody wants advice. Nobody wants to take it.
Do most people give you a list or a criteria of what they're looking for in a car?
A little bit. Mostly it's just budget. I have to respect budget, and mostly on the show we deal with about $40,000 or under. But, When I first moved to LA, I had $2,000 to buy a car, and I bought a 1968 Cougar XR7 convertible with no top. And I loved it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
For like a year and a half of my life, that was my starter car. So I believe there's a great car for everybody on any budget.
What do you think is like the most important thing if you're looking for a car?
Just to care.
Okay.
You know, just,
Damn
you know,
it.
I tell some of the guys who come on the show, you know, they say, I don't care what I drive, it doesn't matter. And, you know, I go, you single? And it's like, yeah. They go, date much? Not really. And I'm like, maybe you ought to take a look at what you're driving. Because just like the clothes make who you are, the car kind of does out here. Whether you want to be judged or not, you're going to be. And that doesn't mean you need something big and expensive, but it does mean you might want something a little clean and with air conditioning so
Right.
that you might want to get in it and go out to dinner with them.
So it helps you if you already have a date. But I have one of my boyfriend's friends, I swear, has at least 10 cars, and they're really beautiful, really nice luxury cars, and the guy can't get a date to save his life.
Yeah, that sounds like a different story. Sounds like he has a
whole new
glut.
problem.
Okay, so
He's
then...
what I call the DuPont Registry cigar aficionado type, right?
yeah,
These are all
that
new,
sounds exactly
very
like it.
expensive, blowhardy, open shirt with a gold chain, right? He's buying cars, it sounds like, maybe for the wrong reasons. See, a guy like that, I would curate his collection.
Okay.
I would
Oh.
look at it and say, here's what you're doing wrong and here's where you need to be. Because I guarantee you, if I looked at pictures of that guy's cars, he'd be in trouble right
Definitely.
away, right?
Mike, we got a match for you.
Ding, ding, ding.
What's wrong? Well, tell me what's wrong with him. Why are you turned off by him?
Why am I turned off by him?
Is it the cars or is it the personality of the guy?
Well, he's a great guy, but I think that he's a little bit insecure, and I think he buys these really luxurious cars to help boost his confidence.
Right,
But the
right.
cars can't give you the confidence.
No.
Isn't that like little man syndrome?
No, here's something.
It's kind of like that.
It is, but you know, it's something bigger than that. You know, every car company sells an idea in a commercial. You know, it's the tuxedo date with the beautiful woman, and you're coming out of the ball, and you get into the car. That idea stays with you until a week after you buy the car, and then you have to go to Ralph's and buy marshmallows or something.
Right.
And the car scuffs on the speed bump as you go in, or you're down too low and it's hard to get out, and the reality of owning the car sets in. So, you know, it sounds like he's buying an idea and not really, you know, knowing what the car is. You know, I recommend all the time, if you're gonna, before you get a car, borrow, if your friend has one or your neighbor, borrow it for a couple of days. If they don't have it, rent it for a couple of days and live with the thing for 3 days, because then you'll get a true idea of what the experience is gonna be like.
When you see somebody, can you immediately tell what kind of car they drive?
No, I'm not psychic.
Damn it.
We were
But I'm
really
good.
excited.
We were really excited if you could guess what we drive.
I guess.
Come on, Spike.
Yeah,
I mean,
what do
I
you think?
can't. I mean, I'd be guessing it completely in the dark
It's okay.
for you. But I could put you in cars
Yeah, what do you think we should drive?
Okay.
that
How
I
about
think would
that?
be great. I mean, if there was no budget, you know, first I'd throw you right into the new Jaguar F-Type.
Oh,
Convertible.
yes,
I
thank
think it's
you.
an awesome car,
Done.
and it's beautiful. It's a little two-seater, and it's got an exhaust note they worked 3.5 years on, and it's just a thrilling little deal to run around town. That I think
what
you
is
would
that
absolutely
again?
love. Jaguar F-Type.
Putting
I would
that
make
on my
it
wish
the
list.
convertible
I got to sit in that
V8S.
one.
And it's-
Oh.
Yeah. It's going to set you back $104,000.
That's
But
not
come
a problem.
on.
We were
Yes.
here.
Take
Budget doesn't matter, remember?
It really doesn't. If you're like me, you spend all your money on cars, and your wife gets very angry. Now let's see, what would I put you in? I'd put you in something. You know, I might put you in a Cadillac CTS-V wagon,
Oh.
like a really souped-up station wagon for some reason. I don't know why that feels
it's a
like
little
you.
safer, maybe.
Do you have dogs?
No,
You
I'm
don't
not
have
a dog
dogs?
person. No.
Yeah, I'd have to know a little bit more about
Okay.
your life and what you're like.
I'm a
and
bad driver.
Where do you live? What part of
I
town?
live downtown.
Oh, you live downtown?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Do you know who Magnus Walker is?
No.
He's building Franken Porsches down there near the 6th Street Bridge.
Maybe I should get one of those.
That would be the car.
That's the Frank.
Look up
Franken.
Magnus Walker is a custom car Porsche hot rodder
Oh.
that's dealing mostly in short wheelbase Porsche 911s from the late 60s, some early 70s cars.
Mine's a lot cooler than yours.
He is the
Oh,
rock
yeah.
and roll of Porsche right
Oh.
now, and that is the car I would put you in.
Perfect.
Go to his website.
That sounds awesome.
Anybody watching right now can check out Magnus Walker's videos, and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That's a bullseye choice for you.
I like that.
That's a bullseye
is this
choice.
it?
There he is. Look at that.
Oh, and that's
you see
my
that?
car.
That's awesome.
This is downtown L.A. That's
That
the
is
downtown
awesome.
L.A. hot rodder Porsche scene right there, and there's Mr. Magnus. He's a good man.
There we go. Okay, we're going to give you some names of celebrities,
Oh boy.
and you have to put them in a car.
Oh really? All right.
Okay, George Clooney.
George, I put him in that little Fiat 500 Abarth because he lives in Italy and it's small and he just got married. It just seems like it'd be a funny car for him to buzz around in.
Okay, what about Jennifer Lawrence?
Jennifer Lawrence, geez. It's interesting because it's pre-leaked nudie photos, Jennifer Lawrence, and post-leaked nudie photos. You know, I've got
Different
a
car for
completely
both.
different, idea of who that girl is. But she seems very down to earth and very sweet and humble. I might put her in. I think maybe just a simple Toyota Prius or Nissan Leaf,
Okay.
something very green car that's just a simple, humble little non-polluter.
What about Justin Bieber?
Bieber, oh my
Biebs.
God. Yeah, I need a big douchebag mobile for this one. It would have to be, the Fisker. You know the Fisker?
That's what he drives.
Yeah,
That's
he's
funny.
in the perfect car.
Yeah,
They went
that's-
out of business. It's just a big, weird
That's
car that
hilarious.
didn't quite work, that looks wrong. And
What's the douchiest car somebody can have?
I don't think there are douchey cars. They're just douchey guys in cars,
Driving,
douchey
agreed.
people. Because it's really not about that. It's like what your friend says. Either someone's about how a car feels, how it sounds, and how it drives, or it's about what does everyone think of me for driving it, and that that goes nowhere. There's no point to that. And by the same token, if you really want to get in something crazy like an orange Lamborghini, do it. We're all dead in about 20 years, maybe sooner with Ebola, maybe sooner.
That's true.
No one's
We're
going to
going car
remember
shopping after this.
everything. Anything that we do, just buy it, enjoy it, go have a nice time.
Is there one car that you think is kind of the best deal on the market?
I'm a huge fan of the Chevy Volt. I
Okay.
just think it's a really fantastic car. I've lived with it for a few weeks. It's, you can, if you do it right and you live in a city, you can keep that same tank of gas because it's a plug-in hybrid. So it's 40 miles all electric, and then it's got a tank full of gas when you run out of electric. But some people have been able to keep that same first tank of gas for a year.
Wow.
So you're not polluting at all.
That's wild.
Your monthly payments are really low, and it's an American-made car. To me, it's like a total home run.
Did you ever have David Letterman pick out cars?
No, but Dave really stoked the flames of my car thing because
Okay.
I wrote for Dave for 5 years, and he heard I was into cars, and we were out here for the Emmys the first year, and he invited me down to Santa Monica Airport. We had a hangar full of cars and let me drive my first Porsche. It was a Porsche 356, a Porsche 914-6. He kind of laid them out in order for me to drive. And a Ferrari Dino, which he said, you're going to get in this thing, Spike, and it's just going to make you laugh, and it did. And, it just blew my mind. I didn't even know some of these cars existed, and I certainly didn't know what they were about. And what struck me was that, I thought this is just all the stereotypes of the guy who drives a Porsche. But it was no power steering, no power brakes. Some of them didn't have radios, and they were just a light, focused, kind of go-karty driving experience. And, I lost it. I fell in love. So I go from there to Seinfeld, and we all know what that guy's up to. And now here I am, Here I am.
Is there advice you would give somebody, because obviously you're talking about your writing and stuff, that wants to make it in the industry?
Well, you guys are doing it right now, what you're up to. It used to be you had to know people, you had to go to New York or LA and get in a room and get on a staff, and now, you can just get on YouTube and start performing and start making content, and, it's almost cooler than going the old route. Like, it'll be really interesting to see how many people watch my show, the new show here in the old rectangle, or just download the Esquire Network app and watch it on their phone right now. In fact, I think it's available.
Oh.
I believe the first episode is out a week earlier on the app right now. So if you download the Esquire Network app, you can watch my show and all the other shows they have right now, and you don't have to wait till next Tuesday.
Right, so if you're watching our episode right now, go download the app right after.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Does that challenge you at all when you're making a show, because now you have to make it while people are on their phones? And the industry's changed a lot since you've been in it. Everyone's distracted.
It's always been that way. Standard definition to high def and 16:9 and 4:3. You just gotta make it and hope that it all works out.
Just gotta roll with it.
Just gotta roll with it.
Okay, we want to play a game called Spike Superlatives. Okay.
Are you ready?
So, most sexy. This is with the automobiles. Okay.
This is with cars.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put people in the cars if you want.
Okay, I'll do whatever you guys want.
Do that.
Sexiest.
Pick a car and then pick a person to go in the car.
Jeez, the sexiest
car with the sexiest person driving it. Tough one to start with.
Yeah, I know. This is going to be crazy. This is, by the way, I love car talk. And you guys can chime in with your suggestions too. What do you think the sexiest car is? Do you have any idea what the sexiest car is to you?
To me, I really love the Ferrari California in red.
I was just going to say when somebody else is driving me. That works.
Uber
is the sexiest car.
Yeah, that's a very sexy car. I really loved, out of all the cars I drove this year, and I think I drove everything, the Porsche Panamera GTS.
Okay.
A big, fat car with black wheels. I drove it, I think it was a metallic brown with an unbelievable interior in it, and it had mood lighting and stuff. That car was really, and I'm just going by how my wife reacted to it, I think the sexiest ride I had. It blew her away.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you'd have your wife in the car.
And I put her in it because she's sexy.
Good
Sexy
answer.
girl number one. Sure.
Most reliable.
Most reliable cars. That's a really good question. I mean, we were on the way here. I was driven over by an Uber X driver in the new Prius C, and we were talking about the Prius. And I had just met a group of Prius drivers who had several 100,000 miles on their Prius. They were in first series Priuses, and the batteries were still fine.
Wow.
So that's impressive. I mean, that's super cool.
What about the fastest car?
Well, there is a fastest car, and there are all these strange brands that you might not know. The ones that we kind of know are the Bugatti Veyron Super Sports and ones like that. But for me, again, I'm a Porsche nut. Like, the quickest car that I drove that I loved, that kind of functioned perfectly in my life all week long, from Sunday up on Mulholland racing around to dropping kids off on school Monday, was the new Porsche Turbo S. It's an incredible car. That and the F-Type Coupe R, which is the big engine, those two really blew me away as super fast and super fun.
Is there one car you would never drive? Without getting into trouble.
There aren't many cars that I won't drive.
Okay.
What car would I never drive? There is, and I saw it the other day, and it was so hideously ugly that it's been erased from my brain, and I was anticipating this question. Like, this is the ugly. It's a, maybe you guys can look it up. I don't even remember the name. It's a Honda, and it's a Cross Tour. The Honda Cross Tour.
Okay.
If he can pull it up and you can show the picture, is the ugliest.
I can't wait
I don't
to see
even know
that.
how this car was. I mean, it's like a demented, drunk fourth grader and a chalkboard put this car together. I mean, it's hideous. I was driving next to one in the 101, and I went, "What is that?"
That's hilarious.
And I can't believe. And the guy who was in it was just like, "I've given up." To me, it's the sweatpants of
that
car.
it?
Yeah, there it is. You can't really see how hideous the back end is on that version, but
Everyone likes a nice back end. So.
this is a car that says, "I've completely given up. I'm just eating chili and wearing sweatpants for the rest of my life." Yeah,
Oh, man.
Sorry, Honda.
Sorry
but
if you drive
don't
that.
make that car anymore.
What's a good first car?
Good question. I like these green cars. I mean, Nissan Leafs, Chevy Volts. Really, if we're talking about LA, anything that's got good air conditioning and it gets good gas
necessary.
mileage. But I really want people thinking about clean air here in LA and battery powered cars and hybrids. So I would say stick with your hybrids. When you're starting out.
When you meet a new guy on the show, What are some questions that you ask him? What do you need to know about his lifestyle that determines what cars you choose?
What do you do for work?
Okay.
You know, really, I like to soak up their personality. So I just have a bunch of simple questions, but I'm really trying to look a little deeper into what's going on with them. You know, you're married, are you dating? You know, how successful is it right now? But you can get a pretty quick read on people. In the first episode, this fella named Jason, I could tell right away, you know, this guy is a thrill seeker type, rides motorcycles, but you can tell I think he just turned 40. He was arrested for swimming to Alcatraz, and, you know, which I don't know anybody who swims to Alcatraz. You're supposed to swim, you know, and he thinks it's funny, and I'm like, do you have a girlfriend? It's like, oh, she just broke up with me. I'm like, really? You know, so I could tell he's a guy who hasn't gotten serious yet. He's a man boy,
right?
And he wanted a muscle car from the 60s, and instead I said, let's get you a modern day muscle car that has air conditioning, so that when you find someone to date, they're not embarrassed, you know, because that's part of the problem. So you're almost fixing a little personality flaw sometimes with the buyer, and other times you're just trying to open their eyes to stuff they didn't know existed.
We got to hook him up with my friend Mike.
We should have brought him in here.
Who's Mike?
He's the guy with all the cars.
Guy with all the cars, but no girls.
Yeah, that guy. You know, that guy might need Dr. Phil or something.
Now, what happens? Because I feel like everybody has really cool cars, and then they get married and have kids and drive a minivan.
Yes.
How do you avoid that?
Okay, well, first of all, you want to go with a minivan, you make it funny.
Okay.
And by that, I mean you wrap it, you murder it out. You make it, you know, matte green, matte purple, matte black.
Oh my God.
You put spinning hubcaps on it. You make it a joke so it's funny if you're going to do that.
Why do I feel like your wife's not okay with that?
No, she's not. She's definitely not.
So it's in theory, that's a great idea.
You know, one of the great things about becoming, you know, hosting a car show is you get free cars every week. I don't know if anybody knows this.
No.
This is kind of the other reason I did this, because I thought this might be the case. All I have to do is call up a manufacturer and go, hey, can you drop this off in my driveway? And it's there the next day, and you get to keep it for a week. So I'd never driven a minivan. So I said, drop a minivan off, because I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they love minivans. And I said, let me live with it. And I can tell you, it murders your soul so slowly, just hour by hour. You start to just die in it. The kids love it.
The kids love it.
So if you can find a way to make it a joke, the joke that it is, it's okay. But I advocate avoiding them. Like, there are plenty of cars like the new Ford Explorer Sport that's got 3 rows, and you get a DVD player in it, and you can still take it out on a date and not feel like, you know, like a parent, which no one wants to feel. So there are plenty of options.
It is funny, though, because I used to love my parents' minivan.
With the TV?
With the TV, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're good for, you know, kids and stoners.
When your kids are old enough to drive, are they going to get a new car first, or do they have to learn on a used car?
Absolutely not. No. Kids need cars that they can smash, right?
Yeah, I mean, I smashed a lot of them.
Mine,
Yeah, I mean, my dad bought my brother and I a Ford Torino 500. It cost $432, and my brother wrapped it around a telephone pole 3 weeks after we got it.
Wow.
Yeah, still has not paid me back for it.
Do you have an attachment to your first car?
No, not in any
Not
way.
at all. What was it?
It was that car, the Ford Torino 500.
Here. Okay.
But I was looking, you know, we featured in the show, so I was looking for pictures of it, and I did find the car that I lost my virginity in, which I was looking at this old Honda Accord that we used to own, and I'm like, God, you know, I think I lost my virginity in that tiny little
That's
hatchback.
hilarious.
How awful is that?
I really wish you said it was a minivan.
Your second series should be about where people lose their virginity in cars and what it says about them.
It would be great. Yeah, sure. No, well, you know, you're 17 years old. There's no other place to go.
Like a Honda Accord.
Yeah, with red velvety seats. God.
Do you help any women on the show?
Yeah, we help everybody. Couples, women. We had this fella who wanted to buy a car for his mom, who was an older lady in her 80s. And we did kind of a Magnum PI, like a Ferrari recreation, just for the fun of it. You know, we take these detours into field trips, for lack of a better description, just where we go have fun for a little while before we test drive the cars. And, I try to make it, the show, the most fun dealership you've ever seen. We're going to take cars, like with Jason, because he was a thrill-seeker type personality, we're going to go out in the desert and off-road these things.
Okay.
I didn't tell Dodge, Ford, and Chevy that we're going to off-road your cars, but we were jumping the things and having a good time and then going, here you go, we're done with your car.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super fun.
So the show is October 14th.
This Tuesday, October 14th, 9 o'clock.
And it's a full season.
Yeah, 13 episodes. We're also featuring, I did an episode with my brother, who's the cue card guy for Saturday Night Live. So we brought on Seth Meyers in that episode, Will
fun.
Forte. We drove out to Long Island to see Jerry Seinfeld and to kind of get his input on what my brother should drive. And
that's awesome.
That's going to be a special episode, I think, airing in December. But, yeah, it's great. That's a very funny episode. They're all funny, but that's the funniest, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
And you guys can also download the Esquire app right now and get started on the season. So.
Yeah. Esquire
Perfect.
Network.
Get started. Well, again, Esquire Network, October 14th. And if you want more from AfterBuzz, subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. And they can find you on Twitter and
At
Instagram.
Spike Feresten.
Perfect.
And spikescars.com is the website that goes up, I think, in 10 hours.
Tonight. It's debuting.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Zias and at MissZias.com.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Jason Ikeler, and AfterBuzz TV is at AfterBuzz TV.
I'm going to go get my Jaguar on.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.